you would rather go to war with yourself internally than to take that fight to someone outside of you. Welcome to Brown Girls Need Healing Too, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey of healing, transformation, and radical self love. I'm Quiana, and I'm here to help you break free from trauma, reconnect with your inner peace, and step boldly into the life you deserve. This is your space to feel seen, heard, and supported as we explore the tools, stories, and practices that will help you reclaim your power and rewrite your story. Because healing isn't just for some of us, it's for all of us, and brown girls need healing too. A lot of us grew up in environments where we were trained to betray ourselves, to silence ourselves, and to not speak up for ourselves, even when we were right. And we were often trained this way in order to make the adults around us more comfortable. And this episode was actually inspired by a series of events that have recently happened in my life that really shed light on just how far I was willing to go to betray myself in order to make other people feel comfortable. So, if you are a certified people pleaser like myself, if what I am talking about feels familiar to you, then I want you to hang on because this episode is going to be so transformational for you. Because at the end of this, you are going to have a very simple tool that you can use every single time you're faced with a situation in which you can betray yourself or you can speak up. There was a situation with a loved one where I had clearly in the past communicated my boundaries. And this loved one was staying in our home, and I am one of those people that are very particular about how I want things in my home to be. With my home, with my kids, with everything. I'm very intentional about a lot of things. And also, on the other hand, I'm very, I wouldn't say protective, but that's probably the best word to use in this context because I will prepare ahead to avoid hard situations. I'm always trying to make things easier for myself, for my kids, and for our routine. So we had a family member come stay with us, and I had previously communicated to this family member the last time that they stayed with us, some of the things that we didn't want them to do while they were staying at our house. And the first time, myself and my husband, we communicated these needs, and it seemed to be that this loved one decided, for whatever reason, that they weren't going to pretty much abide by the rule that we had set for our house. And so that was, the first time that they were with us. And so the second time they came to stay, of course, I am on high alert. And I already have these preconceived notions that this person is going to do the same exact thing they did last time because in my mind we have a pattern here. I've discovered a pattern, right? And so when this loved one came and stayed with us for the second time, before they arrived, we had communicated our rules and our boundaries. And so while the family member was staying with us, I'm aware that they were really making an active point to abide by our rules and our boundaries, but they were just certain rules and boundaries that they could not abide by. And so I remember when I realized, like, hey, I communicated this and they are still doing it. I felt so uncomfortable in my own space. And I am a person that does not like confrontation. As much as I think I do not like confrontation because I do not want people to think badly of me. And it's something that I'm working on. My people pleasing tendencies because I want people to like me. But so after this loved one essentially crossed a boundary, I spent so much of my energy wondering, like, should I talk to them about it? Like, should I bring it up? We've already discussed this. Like, how many times do I have to say it? Why are we still here? Why is this such a hard boundary for them to abide by? And I remember thinking to myself, like, well, should you just let it go? Are you making a big deal out of nothing? Is this just how this person is? That, are we just going to excuse it and say that because of who they are, they get to do essentially what they want to do? And I remember in that moment, after struggling with these thoughts, that took me over for a little bit of time because now I'm a little bit stronger in my practice. I'm more aware of my thoughts and I'm more aware of when I am moving into a primal state. And so I remember hearing this quote, and the quote said something along the lines of, you would rather go to war with yourself internally than to take that fight to someone outside of you. And in that exact moment was when I decided that I was going to speak up for myself once again, no matter whose feelings I hurt, no matter how it would impact our relationship going forward, and no matter what the consequences were. Because I knew that I love myself so much, that every single time I choose to not speak up for myself, I am dishonoring this journey that I am on. Every single time someone does something to you and you choose to quote unquote be the bigger person and not speak up for yourself, you are dishonoring yourself. And here's the really, really tricky part about this space. It is so uncomfortable because no one taught us how to set boundaries. No one taught us how to stick up for ourselves because we were taught the opposite. It wasn't until we became adults that people started saying, hey, speak up for yourself, speak up. Closed mouths don't get fed. But you can't expect a person to just magically wake up one day and be able to feel comfortable and confident enough to speak up for themselves when they've lived their entire life silencing their thoughts, silencing their feelings, and changing who they are inside in order to make other people feel comfortable. And here's one thing I really want you to take away from this, and it's that boundaries are a bridge. Boundaries are a bridge. Every time you set a boundary, you are setting a bridge because the alternative is you don't set the boundary. This person gets to do, or this person does whatever they choose to do without you ever communicating your needs. And then you are suffering, or the relationship just dissolves because you choose to not have this person around. But if you can start to feel comfortable setting boundaries, then you are building a bridge for you to have the people that you love in your life in a way that feels healthy and safe to you. And this is why the work that we're doing in this space is called a practice. You are not going to get it right the first time, but the most important thing is that you become aware of your thoughts, of your feelings, and of your actions and emotions in those moments when you feel like betraying yourself. Saying yes to something or to someone when you really want to say no is betraying yourself. Staying silent about something when you really need to speak up is betraying yourself. All of these things are self betrayal. And each time you choose to speak up for yourself, each time you choose to say no, you are reparenting your inner child. And that is one of the most magical things that you can do for yourself. It is one of the most radical acts of self love. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. But I really want you to understand that most importantly, the person's reaction to your boundary setting is 1000% not your responsibility. As long as you approach the conversation in love and in peace, and you're not pointing the finger and you're not there to change the person, we're here to shape behaviors. As long as you approach it in that energy, you have nothing to worry about. If they get upset, if they blame you, if they cuss at you, if they say, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore, which is a very common reaction. Just won't talk to you anymore then, since you don't like the way I talk to you. Very common. Um, that is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is yourself, and you choose and be intentional about how you choose to show up to these conversations, because how someone else reacts to the things that they do that make you feel uncomfortable is just it's just not your responsibility at all. We're all adults here, and we are living in a world where it's important that we are self-aware and we take accountability for our actions and how our actions impact other people. So, if this episode was helpful, or you know someone that struggles with speaking up for themselves, or someone that constantly betrays themselves in order to keep the peace for friends or family members or jobs, whatever the case may be, send them this episode, because the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of healing. We are doing some amazing sacred work, and I applaud you so much for getting to the end of this episode, because it is life changing. Whether you know it or not, just listening to this and showing up to this space is going to change your life. I love you so much, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode.